Greetings. We continue today in part 2 of our study of the midnight hour from 1 John 2:18 through 20. There have been multitudes of antichrist in history. We'll begin in the days shortly after Christ was on earth in the book of Acts chapter 5. And we'll begin reading at verse 33 where it says, "When they heard that, they were cut to the heart and took counsel to slay them," that is Peter and John. "Then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, had in reputation among all the people, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space. And he saith unto them, Ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves what you intend to do as touching these men. For before these days rose up Theudas, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who was slain, and all, as many as obeyed him, were scattered and brought to naught." So here's one example that Gamaliel brings of a false Christ or an antichrist that had existed. And then again in verse 37, it says, "And this man rose up, Judas of Galilee, in the days of the taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also," "he also perished, and all, even as many as obeyed him, were dispersed." And again in the book of Acts chapter 21, Paul was thought to be an antichrist, where it says here in chapter 21, verse 38, "Art thou not that Egyptian, which before these days madest an uproar, and leddest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?" Well, Paul denies that and refutes who he was. But false messiahs, false Christ, false messiahs have been present in increasing numbers since the days of John until now. We know of Antiochus Epiphanes that even preceded the days of Jesus. Some might say that Hitler in our generation during World War II and trying to exterminate the Jews was trying to set himself up as a god and would qualify as an antichrist. There was a great thing in the 70s when Jim Jones in Guyana had a great following and they all killed themselves following him. And more recently, we had David Koresh in the incident in Waco, Texas. And almost daily, we could find around the world those that continue to follow in this false tradition of not accepting Christ and setting themselves up to be someone to be received instead of Christ. And in doing so, they are opposing Christ.